Well, the sustainability mindset is a conceptual framework, but actually it refers to a particular way of thinking and being where we take into consideration how we relate to oneself, to each other, and to the world. I don't think that I created it. I sort of identified the key components that we could intentionally develop for a sustainability mindset. I was very curious if exceptional leaders that acted in their business thinking of the positive impact they wanted to make on society or on the environment, why were they doing it? So that was my motivation. And then as I did my research and I talked to these different business leaders that came from a very traditional way of doing business to transforming their organization. And that is when I started to find a number of elements that they had in common in how they thought, how they analyzed information, and how their values were at play, how introspective they were to think what they wanted to do, why they were doing what they are doing. So the different dimensions of the thinking and the being. And these were aspects that I said, oh, we can develop that. That's not so difficult. We can do that. We can provide a language because for students, when they get a language to talk about these aspects of how are we thinking, what are aspects of our paradigm, what are the things that are important for us, they get a language and they immediately resonate and say, yes, that makes sense. For educators, we have to unlearn a way of thinking because we are very used and we have been decades in a paradigm that worked for us. Having a common language, a common way of addressing these things is setting like a path with lights. People can choose different paths, but this path has lights. It's sort of illuminated, it's positive, it provides, it's empowering. Is what we can do. That I think is the big contribution because we are developing students so they become champions in the community, activists. And that is, I think, the benefit for a business school pioneering like you're doing here.
We had very, very nice energy this morning when we came together. We had worked twice for 3.5 hours online, which was already very positive with a lot of interaction, discussions, exchange. But we could really feel when people came into the room how excited they were to be together. Many colleagues hadn't seen each other for a long time or maybe hadn't connected at all before and had an opportunity besides the training to connect to each other. And for us, it was absolutely fabulous to be in a room with our trainees and to work with them. And what we also learned is that everybody particularly appreciated the small breaks in duos or trios where you could exchange, where you could discuss, where you could think about the application to your respective discipline. I think there were many small highlights, many small realizations where the faculty started to connect to what they're doing in their classroom, where they said, oh, I actually do this already to a certain extent. So as Isabel already said, it was a creation of language to name things better. But I also want to specifically point out 2 comments that were made. One, speaking to the interdisciplinarity of the sustainability mindset. At the beginning, we very often had questions, well, but what do I do with this in a finance course? How could I apply this in finance? And I think throughout the training, the faculty realized it's like, yes, there is maybe one of the principles or 2 that apply better to this class that applies better to another class, but jointly throughout the program and throughout the faculty, one could really create the energy and, as I said, the language to bring it all together and to embed the ideas of the sustainability mindset. So that, I think, was one of the highlights. And another one that I think moved everybody was that one faculty member actually said, it's like, you know, you're already doing this. Excelia already lives and breathes these kind of principles. They're maybe not named like this, but they are the DNA of the school. And now we have a way to bring them out. So I think that's a wonderful result of this training.